A very good afternoon and welcome to the Day's Counter. My name is Lucy Riley, and on this fourth week of January, I'll kick you off with a quote by Sir Richard Branson, CEO and founder of Virgin Atlantic, where he says, and I quote, "Business opportunities are like buses. There is always another one coming." End of quote. Well, interact with me on text message, that's 22047, and also on social media, that's at TV47KE and at Lucy_Riley. Now let's take a look at the stories that are making headlines in the business world today. Right, expensive maize coming from Tanzania, and that's said to be coming in with high levels of aflatoxin from Uganda, appears to have killed hopes of having cheaper flour in the country. The Tanzanian maize is now getting into the country at prices ranging as high as 3,800 Kenyan shillings per 90 kilogram bag, up from 2,800. Millers are also said to be rejecting maize from Uganda, citing its high levels of aflatoxin. The two countries often enable the country to supplement its grain with the aim of checking against high prices locally. On the hearing of the 70 billion Lake Turkana wind power project case resumes today. This is 5 months after a group of judges recused themselves from the matter. Now, the case pitting Kenya's largest private sector project against a section of Marsabit residents has been pending in courts for about 5 years now. The judges have also agreed to reverse decision to kick out all members of the public made by a previous judge. Now, Kamal Mukbeyer, an entrepreneur from Mozambique, had an idea to locally make cigars that could potentially compete with the infamous Cuban cigars. Now, he's managed to actualize the idea into a business, Bongani Cigars, which means be grateful in Zulu. Bongani Cigars is producing 10,000 cigars a month and has outlets in South Africa, Kenya, and Mozambique. Take a look.
In the world's wood-paneled smoking lounge, a Cuban cigar is the ultimate status symbol, but an upstart brand wants to muscle its way into the luxury market and put a new place on the map, Mozambique, Southern Africa. Bongani Cigars, the only African premium cigar, wants to become the first choice on its home continent for smokers looking for rolls that radiate class and prestige. The tobacco is grown in Mozambique, where employees are trained to precisely roll each cigar in leaves grown in Cameroon, which CEO Kamal Mukbeyer says appeals to a growing aspirational African middle class keen to show off. Thani Kabir owns a cigar lounge in Maputo and is a regular smoker of Mukbeyer cigars.
I started smoking cigars 10 to 12 years ago. I recently started smoking the Bongani cigars, and I can see the improvement that Bongani is doing. I can see that it is becoming better, and it's very nice to have a cigar that is rolled in Mozambique, made in Africa, made in Mozambique. Even clients come here looking for Bongani cigars.
As a newcomer that sold its first cigar in 2016, Bongani can't boast of 30-year-aged tobacco like some of its well-established rivals. Bongani cigars are priced around 10% less than the equivalent Cuban, with its standard smoke selling for around $13. Mukbeyer traveled to the Dominican Republic to recruit a head of production, Anthony Padilla Perez, and moved him to Maputo, where he helped train a workforce in the precise art of rolling by hand.
What we have here is the cigar cover that comes from the Cameroon, and it's called the Cameroon cover. It is used all over the world on the most famous cigars in the world, and we are talking about the Gran Reserva out of Fuente. It's a special leaf cigar, and it's this leaf that makes the cigar old.
Mukbeyer says his business model also involves empowering locals. He has hired 5 local rollers at his factory in Maputo.
Our relationship here at Bongani involves a lot of understanding. Above all, we are also a family and we express those feelings in our work every day. And that's why Bongani Siga is the best at national level, African national level, and we hope that it can be on a worldwide level.
Right. Thank you very much for that story. As you can see, it's always interesting when there is a market disruptor, and particularly for this Mozambican entrepreneur who is trying to compete and put Africa on the map when it comes to the production and selling of cigars. Now, moving on, regional economist Gibran Qureshi says that 2020 is set to have some good news for tea farmers in Kenya, and particularly after the heavy rains. Now, Mr. Qureshi was speaking at the Stanbic annual report conference held today, where it was announced that the bank lending is set to increase in the private sector. Vanessa Ndave with more on that story.
Good afternoon, and I'm joined here by Gibran Qureshi, who is the regional economist for the Stanbic Regional Bank. Today they had an economic brief here in Nairobi, and he's just going to take us through about the whole report and what went down in that event. Hi, how are you?
I am doing well, thank you.
Kindly give us a brief of today's event.
Well, today we had our media briefing, economic forum. We have this every year in January, where we basically present our macroeconomic research views for the coming year. And what we are highlighting today is that we expect economic growth in Kenya to recover to 5.9% in 2020, this year, on the back of improving weather, especially given that the tea sector could benefit quite a bit. And of course, we've had some other reforms that could, broadly speaking, be quite helpful for the private sector, such as the repeal of the interest rate capping law last year, which we believe in 2020 will result in a meaningful increase in lending to the private sector. So I think, those two factors, definitely convince us that the economy will get back on its feet. But of course, we are urging the government to also remain committed to clear arrears owed to the private sector, the impending bills. And of course, if that also happens consistently across this year, then that provides a level of impetus that will probably also result in growth being higher than the 5.9% that we currently envisage.
Last week I attended an event, and there's 7% GPD growth that has happened. How does the bank, are those figures correct? And with the lending as well, I have a question. There have been a lot of delays when it comes to bank lending. People, especially like the private sector, or anyone who wants a loan, is that going to improve this year?
Well, as I said, I definitely believe on a risk-adjusted basis, commercial banks will be able to price loans and credit going forward, which they couldn't do when the rate cap was in place. So I think, yes, credit will pick up. In terms of the 7% growth, I think you're referring to the medium-term projection that was provided by the National Treasury. And yes, in the medium term, when we think about potential output or potential growth, it's anywhere between 6.5% and 7%. And it's obviously contingent on sustainable economic reforms and structural reforms that need to carry on for the next 4 to 5 years. And I think potential growth of 7% is normally achieved if the private sector becomes a dominant driver of growth. So I think that's what the government should strive to achieve.
For the tea sector, the common wananchi watching this will probably ask and think, when am I going to benefit from this high returns come the year, which is this year is projected by the Stanbic? How long is that going to take?
So that's an issue that's unfortunately not just isolated to Kenya, because it's one of growth inclusivity. As you rightly said, people don't relate or feel that headline growth that's been published in the papers or talked about on TV. But I think again, inclusive growth only comes about when the private sector is involved. And when it's public sector driven, the government could be building a road, expanding a bridge, building a railway. So you see investment going up, construction does well. But agriculture, manufacturing, for example, the sectors that are very labor intensive and have the ability to turn around the sentiment and make people believe that they can feel this growth, then of course it's going to have to be on the back of private sector consistent reform. So, that's what I think we need to see to have inclusive growth. And of course, if the government continues the pie in the sky infrastructure spending, which people on the ground don't see, and if that growth from that infrastructure spending doesn't it's not generated, then you're going to have higher taxes, and then those same farmers in the tea sector will be suffering from the higher taxes rather than benefiting from the investment in the said infrastructure. So I think it's a combination of thinking about the private sector, how we can change their fortunes for the better, and of course also thinking about how as a country we can reduce our fiscal burden that's become quite expensive and very high too.
Do you have any public involved in your sit down before you release this economic report?
We do talk to a lot of our customers. We do talk to a lot of other different stakeholders. So yes, we do talk to a number of stakeholders so that we get a sense of what's happening on the ground and have communication with them. So part of it is influenced by our own analysis of global environment, local environment, but part of it is also influenced by what our customers and other common people are saying.
Thank you so much. The tea production industry has some good news coming their way, and as Gibran has advised, that it's always good if we could, because when you explain to a common Wananchi about the infrastructure, it's more important if you try and support our private sector investors. Other than building infrastructure is important. However, the common Wananchi will not understand, because they will not understand how am I supposed to, I'm benefiting from the road, but can that road put food on my table? Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you very much for that, Venice and Davi. It's time to take a short break now, and when we come back, we have a lot more in store for you. Don't forget to send me a text message on 22047 or social media platforms that's at TV47KE and at Lucy_Riley. Do stay with us.
We recorded all that. We left it at the matter of CID, and actually the police were satisfied with our statement, and nobody has ever asked us or followed us on that particular issue, and neither have the public, nor the media, nor anyone followed up. I do not think it is fair. All of us have got a reputation, and we have got responsibilities as leaders. Most important as parents. It is not good and it's not fair. And I really wish and want to beg that people from today stop associating me or the Honorable Sabina Chege with this particular issue, because we are doing what a responsible citizen and a responsible leader should do. Once you get information about a crime or about any information which you think is helpful to a matter that is of public concern or investigation, what are we supposed to do? Keep quiet? Many people would have kept quiet, gone home, assumed nothing happened. So instead of us getting accolades about reporting crime, because failure to report information within which you have in possession of is actually abetting a crime. And I think you are responsible citizens, and you are responsible leaders. And I think everyone, even those of us who you think that we are immune to the kind of name calling and besmirching and character assassination, no one is immune. No one is happy with this kind of accusations. More so when you know your values and you know the things that you hold dear, like human life. Nothing for me is worth taking somebody's life. Nothing. And nobody should wish that somebody's life is taken, even your worst enemies. So with the same breath, I want to ask you, media, not to really be dropping balls, because that is exactly what Kenyan media is good at. You just pick an issue, within one day, you say that Kenyans have a short memory. But it is a media, because before something is investigated or we get to the depth of the matter, you have abandoned it and you have gone to another issue. So much as we blame the public, I also, I accuse the press. I really put this on your doorstep, because this issue, how many people have followed up from the media about what happened to the investigation about Christmas Sunday? How many people from the opposition, which is now in government, have followed up on this issue? How many people from the social media and civil society have followed up on this issue? Yet you take an innocent person who just volunteered information that got into their possession with this particular issue. I don't know what you expected from me today. But I think the most important thing is this indictment of media, of the opposition, of social media, and of civil society at not getting to the bottom of the matter. We had previous cases before, like the cases of Crispin Odhiambo Bai, which died and went into thin air, and many other instances. Now, recently, I was saddened, and this is now coming to the issue of insecurity in this country, that there were some riots in the Mwiki area about people who are protesting about bad roads in the Kasarani Mwiki area. And I remember there was the Honorable Senator Johnson Sakaja went to talk to the people and to ensure that normalcy comes back to that area, only to learn later that a human life was lost there. An engineering student, the hope of the parents, was killed just for demanding that we have good roads. Again, I flipped through TV channels, I flipped through newspapers, no one. Even when we went to visit, when Sakaja was addressing those people, he was only delivering a government message that the road is going to be repaired. And I remember what I said that time. Yes, what Sakaja has told you, I can confirm that the road will be done. But will that life be reclaimed? Yet no one is asking this question. Not the opposition, not the media, not civil society. Has human life in Kenya become so cheap? A day later, in Majengo area, another human life is lost. Really. If we continue to lower the threshold of human life in this country, terrible things will continue to happen. And I want to call upon government, and I want to call upon media, I want to call upon civil society, I want to call whatever is left of the opposition, for people not to keep quiet. When you lose such crusaders for human rights like James Orengo to the parochialism of the day, what a loss. What a waste. That you don't hear the likes of Orengo talking about loss of human life simply because he is enjoying the trappings of power. How many years will it take to produce another Orengo? How many years will it take to produce another Otello Amolo? And I want to applaud those few lawyers, human rights lawyers and activists, Harun Dubi, John Kaminwa, Dr. Ikuru Okot, especially, who are standing with us on this issue of disrespect of court orders. Please stay firm, and we are not alone. And I can see, I really want to see the coming together of progressive forces about this issue of, abuse of human rights, return of the police states, threat of extrajudicial killings and political assassinations. These things must not be allowed to creep back to our civilized democratic nation. It has been now 28 years since we repealed Section 2A, and we thought we did away with these things. We cannot go back there. We cannot allow Kenya to slide back to days of police state. But you know what? This is what happens. Every day something happens. Every day some rights are taken. We keep quiet. You remember the last time I was on this seat? I was on the issue of Miguna. And I told you guys about Martin Nimra and his story about the guy who said, I was not a Jew, not a socialist, not a trade unionist, so I will not speak. It didn't take me 3 days before I was in police cells. I think it was prophetic. It was prophetic. But this is exactly what is happening. Continuous, consistent and gradual degradation of human rights, abuse of court processes, weaponization of prosecution, just to silence people. And I wonder the following. If all these threats are coming because of BBI, all of us have accepted BBI. I remember in 2010, I was a co-head of communication center for the yes referendum alongside Salim Loan. Myself from PNU, Salim Loan from ODM. And we worked together and we planned all these rallies. We were planning for Kibaki, for Uhuru Kenyatta, for Raila Odinga, for all the people who are in the yes campaign, irrespective of their political differences. There was no yes campaign for Uhuru or for Kibaki or for Raila. It was one which we were organizing as a secretariat. But now what we are finding is that Kisii, they had their own one side, political partisan side. We saw what happened in Bukungu. Even Governor Waiguru, a member of the National Steering Committee. In fact, I was so very good. I think it was a slip of the tongue, because she was meant to say. It was supposed to be some nuclear secrets of some sort which accidentally fell off. And that a secretariat has been formed behind our backs. Yeah? So, and I'm saying to all and sundry to hear, it is not necessary. We are all supportive of the BBI process. So it can only be that these so-called parties and meetings which are being planned are for a different reason. So it is not necessary. So there's no need of spilling blood. There's no need of assassinating people. There's no need of all these shenanigans, because why? Why are we fighting about nothing? Why are two bald-headed men fighting over hair comb? They don't need it. It is not necessary. No one has refused BBI. And personally, me anything so I say in Mombasa this weekend, I will be there. Because I believe that if it's the same BBI that you're talking about, it is what I'm supporting. I will be there. But please, and this is my message to Haji and to the two principals behind BBI, the President and the former Prime Minister. Let us stop the sideshows. We are supportive of the BBI process. Publish the calendar, publish the schedule, and so that you see, because you can only try too hard if it's the reason. And there's nothing that stops people from tangatangaing in Kisii, like they tangatangaing in Kakamega, like they tangatangaed in Bukungu. Let us Tangatanga in Mombasa and elsewhere. There's nothing wrong with Tangatanga in the whole country. Because what's happening right now is Tangatanga. Yeah? The Tangatanga in Kisii, the Tangatanga in Bukhungu, and we will Tangatanga together in Mombasa. Because it's a BBI for all of us. So, summary, please. One, please, whoever is going to associate me with the case, because I have explained here, I am going to take action. I'm going to take legal action on this. Two, let's stop taking this country back to the dark old days of repression that we have come from. It is not necessary. Really, we are all unanimous in supporting BBI. If we know what BBI is, and if we assume BBI is a document that came from bombers. If it's something else also, wekelea kadi kwa meza, tuone. What's all these shenanigans instead of just put the cards on the table, say, I want Prime Minister, I want, like they are saying now, they want to create 500 constituencies. Let it happen. Tuone. So, for me, I support the document that came from bombers. The only thing I will put my hand to add economic issues, our milk, our coffee, our tea, our potatoes, our bananas, our rice, yeah. BBI bombers plus BBI uchumi. Hiyo ni sawa, tutasupport. We match BBI bombers, which came from bombers, BBI uchumi, which we have been singing about all this time, and we move forward to the country together. If it is still possible to achieve a national consensus. But you know what? We cannot achieve a national consensus if we continue hiding all the dangerous cards, as a late Michael Kijana Wamala would say, below the table, and only put the safe cards above the table. No. Tufunguliane roho jameni. Tufunguliane roho. Instead of taking the country through these shenanigans, threatening people, cold threats of assassinations, and that, we don't need this. If it was necessary, we would understand. But I don't think we're at that moment where we can now say we want to create more of the Mumbais. It is not necessary. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Of 4 players, all stakeholders. We are ready. Yeah? So that we plan for meetings. We plan together. We plan together. If it's about political campaigns, everybody can do their own thing. Because you can't force people to do their politics together. But anything in the name of BBI, it should be joint. Either joint, ama tuseme ni soko huru. Tunaambiwa sasa, like Paul said to the Philippians, go and preach the gospel anyhow. As long as you're preaching the gospel. Whether with a good intention or a bad intention. You know, the president recently signed a law, the Parliamentary Service Commission bill, into law. That bill, and I invite you to go and read, says that there is going to be a police service unit within the Parliamentary Service Commission. In other words, it's a responsibility of Parliamentary Service Commission to provide members of Parliament with security. So I cannot even respond to that because I can only ask Parliamentary Service Commission. So those are the people who legally, not out of favor, are going to, I will ask about anything security related. But let's move beyond that, my friend. Wewe unapigwa geta kila siku na tuongee mambo yako. Why do you glorify us as members of Parliament? Eh? Why can't we talk about insecurity generally? I don't want this to be members of Parliament. I want this really to be about the insecurity in the country. It's not about me. Me, I walk in the streets. I walk on River Road alone. I have no reason to fear anyone whatsoever. My conscience is white as snow. But before you just make a lot of, mountain out of molehill, one, this is an issue of Parliamentary Service Commission. As members of Parliament, we have just left them to handle this issue because my privileges are administered by Parliamentary Service Commission. But two, really, let's really put focus on the wider insecurity facing Kenyans. Let's put focus on that university kid, that engineering student who was shot in Mwiki just for demanding for a good road. Yeah? Let's look at all the people who go through muggings and house breaks and, this kind of, let's go through people who go through police brutality every day. Once we go through that, I'm ready to address the issue of my security.
My second question and my final question is on the issue of Sando. After you recorded a statement 2 days later, you were summoned. Have the police ever summoned you again?
No, not at all. That ended there. And more important, you have never followed up with the police, Mr. Grizayo.
Okay, my question is concerning Sando. During the then vibrant opposition, leaders led by Raila Odinga and a few leaders in the country claimed that it was the government that was behind the killing of Sando. According to you, maybe do you feel it was indeed the government, and what exactly might be the motive of what eliminating Sando?
I'm not an investigator, but now that you mentioned that Raila Odinga and the opposition ask about it, probably you need to go to Capitol Hill and ask them whether they followed up, now that they're in government.
You gave us a lot of and the Muslims and reach out and I understand that John Sakaja talked about nothing last week, and now you are going. From where you sit, has there been any threat? What was nature? Now that you're coming to tell us about it.
Actually, the reason I've come forward is just because every time I speak about issues, you guys say Musando. And I recorded a statement beautifully, and I was there offering information, so nothing triggered, but I didn't want to put this issue to an end. And Moses Kure is not someone to be threatened, my friend. I'm unbogable.
Shina, I would ask a question. Why now? And then number two, I don't know if it's you who loves starting controversy, but the last time Miguna was being reported again, it was sort of controversial. You were seen in the same plane with him. How come it's you?
Let me address the issue of why now. The issue of why now is because you have never followed up on Musando's murder in media. I was giving you a chance. And media should also say we have failed where they have failed. Media is dropping the ball consistently. People are being killed, Mwiki, nothing, no coverage. Instead of Muhungu, Kisi, somebody dies and you're not following up on it. You tell me why now, up to why now. It's better me who have come. You, why, up to why. When is the last time you went to DCIO? Let us see Musando's file. How have we reached on it? I can't do your work. And in terms of Miguna, I was with my family going for a holiday. I didn't even know Miguna was there. I tried to say hi to him, and he told me, go away. That's all. You didn't cover the issue of this student. You don't even know where he came from. You don't even know when he's going to be buried. You don't even know the family. You are supposed even to look.
That was interviewed. That means we know the family.
There has not been pressure, my friend.
I'll send you the link, but my question is.
To listen is a story. I like that one.
My question is.
Do you agree with me that people should not die in vain?
People should not die in vain.
Thank you very much.
Sorry
for interviewing you.
At this point in time, how do Kenyans trust you? Because you are the same people who put this government in place, and you are the same people now saying, shouting of its shortcomings. How do people trust you?
This government was not put in place by us. It was put in place by voters. Yeah? 6 million voters. And what you are supposed to do, according to your script, is, even if we find shortcomings, is let me shut up, because I'm the one who voted for this government. That's not the way it happened. Then why do we change governments? Why do we change governments if we are supposed to keep quiet? And then, in any case, I think we did the right thing for voting for this government. Because those people who told us not to vote for it are in it. Despite all that's happened.
Would you vote for it again?
Well, thank God, Jubilee government is coming to an end. So, well, let's move forward. Yeah. I am disappointed. Yeah. I think that's a good question, my friend. And what we need to do is vigilance. Vigilance, vigilance. Threats will be many. Persecution will be a lot. But as me, I was a student. As a student leader, I was a student leader of the University of Nairobi. We were in these streets during Sabasaba. Even some people who were in government were not in government that time. They were not even in politics. I really want to call upon those people who are my masters, my teachers. Raila Odinga was my teacher. James Olengo was my teacher. Paul Moito was my teacher. Is this what you taught us to do? To watch by as injustices happen? What about if you all give in to the conspiracy of silence? Simply because I will say I am a member of parliament and I'm in a privileged position. It's not my business. Then who is going to speak out? We keep quiet as politicians. You keep quiet as a media. Civil society is dead. Then who now? Who will speak for this country? And I think we had made so many tangible steps forward from 2010, even the time we passed the Constitution. Every day we were becoming better than yesterday. Every year since 1991, since December 1991 at Kasarani, despite many challenges and many pitfalls, this country has always been better than yesterday. But sadly now, every day that's passing, this country is becoming worse than yesterday. No, that, what can I say about it? Babu Owino was arraigned in court today. He'll have his day in court. I've just said killing is bad. Whether it is done by a politician or whoever it is bad. But what was done today is what we have asked for, that justice is done. Have I ever had a problem of going to court? I dutifully respect court, and I go there and argue my cases. I prove my innocence. I think Babu will have his day in court. Is it that what you want? You want my rule or the rule of law? Meru, we welcome meetings everywhere. And I tell you, once they are published, hata usiniite nitakuweko. With or without security. Because the government is supposed to guarantee my security and guarantee your security. Yeah? Tukutane Mombasa. Because if the subject is BBI, you should say come one, come all. Kama sio mambo ingine. I think that's all. Asante. Yes. Kufungua kwenda wapi? Kwa BBI. Ukinifungia biguni nitaleta shida. Lakini hapa duniani haiwezi kunitisha.
World of M-Truck Solutions, your trusted provider for bulk SMSs. We also offer API integrations for all your communication and payment needs. We also provide you with tailor-made payment gateway solution. to receive and disburse cash quickly, affordable and securely. Let us expand your reach and connectivity on USSD, SMS and voice today. Call us on 0723-030-030 or email hello@mtruck.limited.co.ke. For more details, visit our website www.mtrucklimited.co.ke.
South MP, Moses Kuria making a media address regarding actually the death of Msando, whose body was found late in 2017. However, he actually made more comments on believing and holding on to the BBI vision. And so we're looking forward to seeing what will actually unfold as this story continues to develop. Up next is the 4 p.m. Shina la Upeo news with my colleague. Do stay with us.
World of M-Truck Solutions, your trusted provider for bulk SMSs. We also offer API integrations for all your communication and payment needs. We also provide you with tailor-made payment getaway solution to receive and disburse cash quickly, affordable and securely. Let us expand your reach and connectivity on USSD, SMS and voice today. Call us on 0723-030-030 or email hello@mtruck.limited.co.ke. For more details, visit our website www.mtrucklimited.co.ke.
Kibera ndio kwetu. Takriban watu 700,000 waliono mahiri tofauti tofauti na wangetaka nieleze habari zao kwa ulimwengu mzima wanaishi humu. Ni wazee hawa kwa vijana bila kuwasahau watoto wadogo ambao wananipa msukumo niwe mtangazaji nilie sasa. Ni kitendawili walichonipa, nami sina budi ila kukitegua kwa kukuletea habari za kusisimua na pia kukuelimisha. Kila wakati ninaposimama mbele ya kamera, ni nafasi ya kuwarudishia wanakibera shukrani na Wakenya wote kwa ujumla. Ni njia nzuri pia kuhamasisha wanafunzi wenzangu kwa wana uwezo wa kuwa chochote kile wanachotaka. Jina langu ni Soshil Kaveri, mtangazaji TV 47.
It is time to treat yourself to something good and bring the sweetness of the sun into your home. Golden, sweet, smooth and irresistible, we bring you the best that nature has to offer. Trusted for over 80 years, Peptang only chooses from the best. Our team of bees are hard at work, creating that golden goodness we all love so much, and preserving nature's secrets to health and happiness. From the house of Peptang to your home, it's Peptang Natural Honey. Nature knows what's best for you.
Kuna mengi yanayotendeka hapa. Kuna mengi hapa, sio tu maisha ya uchochole.
Nilianza kuchora kitambo sana.
Kuna mengi yanayowahusu wakaji walio na tumaini.
Watu husema ni magumu, lakini ni kung'ang'ana na kujitia moyo.
Kuna mengi yanayogusia talanta.
Bado na flow.
Haijalishi kama ulizaliwa Kibera au ulikuja kuishi hapa. Hakuna anaelewa Kibera kama sisi. Sauti yetu kila siku ya Jumamosi saa 3:30 asubuhi.
TV47 inavuma kupitia kwa wanahabari mahiri,
watazidi kuwapeleka
taarifa za kina,
tunaweza kutembea kote,
zinazokuelimisha,
kuhamasisha watu,
kukuhimiza na kukuburudisha.
Wasanii wakubwa sana na wengi wanasema
kila yanapojiri kutoka nyanjani tunakujuza.
Safi kabisa mpenzi mtazamaji, karibu tena kwenye awamu nyingine ya kipindi cha matukio nyanjani.
Alasiri tunaibuka na mengi zaidi kwenye Shina la Upeo.
Unatazama runinga TV47 ukiwa nami Emmanuel Terera. Asante kwa kusalia nasi, tusamzuke tuelekee kule Wajia.
Najua linapozama tunafika upeo wa TV47 kwa awamu 2, saa 1 na saa 3.
Unatazama upeo wa TV47 awamu ya saa 1 Jumamosi ya leo.
Hatimaye stesheni yenye taarifa za kuaminika zinazokuhusu wewe imefika. Hii ni TV47, macho na sauti yetu.
Sikosangi sama kwa mama Ben, sababu mlo wake huwa siri ya utamu ni upishi wa Pika Cooking Oil, mafuta ya kupika ya hali ya juu kwa bei nafuu.
Pika na Pika Cooking Oil, mafuta ya lazima kila jikoni.
Nyumba yetu iko katika sehemu ya Lindi. Lindi ni katikati mwa Kibera slum. Ukitoka Katwekere utapass through Kisumu ndogo ndio ufike hapa Lindi. Pia kuna pahali pengine kama Darajani, Kisumu ndogo, High Rise.
We went with the police, we recorded all that, we left it at the matter of CID.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, ni siku nyingine kuweza kukutaarifu taarifa za Shina la Upeo, ikiwa ni siku ya Jumatatu ambapo tuko na taarifa chungu nzima kutoka kaunti mbalimbali ambapo tunakufahamisha kwa kina. Mtafsiri kwa lugha ya ishara ni Josephine Ouko na wakwetu wananiita Joash Onsare. Karibu ili tuweze kuandamana hadi tamati, na moja kwa moja kwenye taarifa zetu ni kuwa siku moja tu baada ya walinzi wa mbunge wa Gatundu Kusini Moses Kuria kuondolewa baada ya kutishia kuwataja waliomuua Chris Musando, hii leo ameweza kuzungumza na wanahabari muda mchache uliopita katika majengo ya bunge, na hii hapa kauli yake.
We went with the police, we recorded all that, we left it at the matter of CID, and actually the police were satisfied with our statement, and nobody has ever asked us or followed us on that particular issue, and neither have the public, nor the media, nor anyone followed up. I do not think it is fair. All of us have got a reputation, and we have got responsibilities as leaders. Most important as parents. It is not good and it's not fair. And I really wish and want to beg that people from today stop associating me or the Honorable Sabina Chege with this particular issue, because we are doing what a responsible citizen and a responsible leader should do. Once you get information about a crime, or about any information which you think is helpful to a matter that is of public concern or investigation, what are we supposed to do? Keep quiet? Many people would have kept quiet, gone home, assumed nothing happened. So instead of us getting accolades about reporting crime, because failure to report information within which you have in possession of is actually abetting a crime. And I think you are responsible citizens, and you are responsible leaders. And I think everyone, even those of us who you think that we are immune to the kind of name-calling and besmirching and character assassination, no one is immune. No one is happy with this kind of accusations. More so when you know your values, and you know the things that you hold dear, like human life. Nothing for me is worth taking somebody's life. Nothing. And nobody should wish that somebody's life is taken, even your worst enemies. So with the same breath, I want to ask you, media, not to really be dropping balls, because that is exactly what Kenyan media is good at. We just speak an issue, within one day, you say that Kenyans have a short memory. But it is a media, because before something is investigated or we get to the depth of the matter, you have abandoned it and you have gone to another issue. So much as we blame the public, I also, I accuse the press. I really put this on your doorstep, because this issue, how many people have followed up from the media about what happened to the investigation about Chris Musando? How many people from the opposition, which is now in government, have followed up on this issue? How many people from the social media and civil society have followed up on this issue? Yet you take an innocent person who just volunteered information that got into their possession with this particular issue. I don't know what you expected from me today. But I think the most important thing is this indictment of media, of the opposition, of social media, and of civil society at not getting to the bottom of the matter. We had previous cases before, like the cases of Crispin Odhiambo Bai, which died and went into thin air, and many other instances. Now, recently, I was saddened, and this is now coming to the issue of insecurity in this country, that there were some riots in the Mwiki area about people who are protesting about bad roads in the Kasarani Mwiki area. And I remember there was the Honorable Senator Johnson Sakaja went to talk to the people and to ensure that normalcy comes back to that area, only to learn later that a human life was lost there. An engineering student, the hope of the parents, was killed just for demanding that we have good roads. Again, I flipped through TV channels, I flipped through newspapers. No one Even when we went to visit, when Sakaja was addressing those people, he was only delivering a government message that the road is going to be repaired. And I remember what I said that time. Yes, what Sakaja has told you, I can confirm that the road will be done. But will that life be reclaimed? Yet no one is asking this question. Not the opposition, not the media, not civil society. Has human life in Kenya become so cheap? A day later, in Majengo area, another human life is lost. Really. If we continue to lower the threshold of human life in this country, terrible things will continue to happen. And I want to call upon government, and I want to call upon media, I want to call upon civil society, I want to call whatever is left of the opposition for people not.
Na bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, tukizidi kusonga mbele ni kuwa shirika la Haki Afrika limeandaa warsha ya siku 3 ya mafunzo ya amani ambayo yanawaleta pamoja vijana katika kaunti ya Mombasa na asasi kadhaa za usalama kujadili mbinu na kubadilishana mawazo ya namna watajitoa katika dimbwi la utovu wa usalama na kutojihusisha na magenge yanayowahangaisha wakazi wa maeneo ya kaunti hiyo.
Naibu wa kamishna mkuu wa kaunti ya Mombasa kutoka gatuzi dogo la Mvita, Charles Munari, aliyemwakilisha kamishna huyo, alisema warsha hiyo ni ya muhimu sana kwao kama asasi za usalama kutafuta mbinu za kumaliza utovu wa usalama katika kaunti hii ya Mombasa.
Mkutano ama hii hafla ni ya maana sana kwetu as a national government, because what you people have gone through for the last 3 days forms part of our core functions in our mandate or in our functions as the Ministry of Interior and the Coordination of National Government. If I were to give you my contract, because we do sign a contract for every year, you will see and you will find that all those human rights, peace building, and conflict management form part of my duties, which I'm supposed to achieve at a certain period. There are certain set targets that I must achieve within that specific period. That's 1 year. And I cannot achieve those targets if I don't participate in this kind of forums and down there in implementing the specific projects that are going to be carried out by you people.
Naye mbunge wa Mvita Abdulswamad Sharif Nasir hakuacha kuzungumzia swala la uchumi wa eneo hili, huku akisema ni wakati sahihi sasa kwa kila mhusika, kuanzia kwa serikali kuu na ile ya kaunti, kufikiria mbinu zingine za watu wao kujitegemea kutokana na hali ilivyo kwa sasa ya uchumi kuzorota, kwani ni njia moja ya chanzo cha utovu usalama katika kaunti hii ya Mombasa.
As we fight for economic justice, it is also important for us to realize that there are some lessons that we need to learn. How can we be able to diversify? How can we be able to diversify? How can, what ideas can the county government say that they're coming up with? Because Mombasa is the county of Mombasa. What can we be able to do? What legislation can we be able to put into place, both in national and local levels, to ensure that we can be able to thrive? If we are going to allow the input to be closed on one side, and we're not going to be able to dig for another input as we are also trying to open this particular one, then we're going to have a problem. So maybe it's equally a time for us to start thinking that we should never rely and put all our eggs in one basket.
Kwa sasa jukumu la vijana hawa 36 waliopata mafunzo haya ni kuingia kwa jamii na kuwafunza mbinu za kujiendeleza katika sekta tofauti, haswa za kibiashara, ili kupunguza na kumaliza janga la utovu wa usalama katika kaunti hii. Nikiarifia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Mombasa, mimi ni Mohamed Atib Abdallah.
Na asante sana Abdalla. Tukizidi kusonga mbele ni kuwa gavana wa kaunti ya Kakamega Wycliffe Oparanya ndiye mwenyekiti wa baraza la magavana kwa mara ya pili mtawalia, huku naibu wake gavana wa Murang'a Mwangi wa Iria pia akitwaa nafasi hiyo kwa mara nyingine. Uamuzi wa kumpa Oparanya kiti hicho ulifanywa baada ya baraza hilo kufanya kikao na magavana wengine, huku akizungumza alisema kuwa mkutano huo ulifanyika katika hoteli ya Movenpick eneo la Westlands hapa jijini Nairobi. Waziri Eugene Wamalwa alisema kuwa serikali ya kitaifa itafanya kazi na serikali za kaunti ili kuboresha utoaji wa huduma kote nchini. Kaunti ya Kiambu, eneo bunge la Ruiru, gharama ya nyumba sasa imeongezeka kwa sababu ya mfumo mpya wa kusafirisha maji taka. Wafanyabiashara katika eneo wakisema kuwa mfumo wa maji taka umesaidia watu wengi ikilinganishwa na hapo mbeleni ambapo wenyeji walikuwa wanatumia njia duni kusafirisha maji taka.
Kitu ya kwanza, bereni haungejega nyumba kama hii unaona hapa, sababu hatukuwa na facility ya sewerage system. Ukinunua plot kama hii na sewerage line iko hapa, kitu ya kwanza hutajega septic tank, tunajega manhole. Hii ni kitu imesaidia sana mambo ya construction hapa Ruiru, na cost of construction, bei ya kujega jengo kama hili imekuja chini.
Hizi manyumba zetu sewage imekuwa connected, na zile tabu tulikuwa nazo ya sewage kumwagika huku juu, kushafua maji, kushafua environment, hiyo sasa tunaweza kusema ni historia.
Ile ya maana sana ni kuwa mambo ya madhara na magonjwa yenye inaletagwa na maji chafu, the waterborne diseases, simeweza kwenda chini. Hii ni kulingana na ripoti ya Department of Health. Tena hata kwenye tunatembelea, kuna mahali ungeenda unatembea area ya Gitabaya, unakuta maji taka inatembea tu in open drains. Hii maneno kwa sasa hai.
Na mpenzi mtazamaji, taarifa hiyo inatupeleka kwenye mapumziko mafupi tu, lakini tutakuwa tunarejea na taarifa zaidi ili tuweze kukujuza ni yepi ambayo yameweza kujiri katika maeneo mbalimbali ya humu nchini. Lakini kwa sasa uzidi kuwasiliana nasi kupitia mitandao yetu ya kijamii Facebook TV47KE, ingia kwenye Twitter ambapo unatupata @TV47KE, na vile vile weza kuingia kwenye tovuti yetu ambayo ni www.tv47.co.ke. Lakini kwa sasa tuende mapumziko mafupi.
The largest private university in
Na mtazamaji, karibu tena, niendelee kukupasha iwapo ndo mwanzo unajiunga nasi. Ni taarifa za Shina la Upeo, ambapo tunaguza taarifa kutoka kaunti mbalimbali za humu nchini. Tukisonga mbele ni kuwa wanafunzi wanapoendelea kujiunga na kidato cha kwanza katika shule za upili ni afueni kwa jamii ya watu wanaoishi na ulemavu katika kaunti ya Trans Nzoia baada ya msamaria kwa jina Winnie Masharia kujitokeza na kuwapa ufadhili watoto wao wanaotakiwa kujiunga na shule za upili.
Wazazi wakiwa mbioni kuhakikisha wanao wanajiunga na shule za upili, huku jamii ya watu wanaoishi na ulemavu ikionekana kusaulika. Jamii hiyo imepigwa jeki na msamaria mwema Winnie Masharia aliyetoa ufadhili kwa zaidi ya familia 10. Kila mojawapo ikipokeza ufadhili wa kuwezesha wanao kujiunga na kidato cha kwanza ili kuendeleza elimu yao sawa na wanafunzi wengine katika jamii.
Kawapea ngiri 5,500, 1,100. Niliwapea huo msaada ili mwenye yako na mtoto amelemewa kwenda rudi shule, amrudishe shuleni. Kila mtu aende ajisaidie vile anataka. Kama ni school fees au ni nyumba hajalipa, ama ni chakula hana. Nimesimama na hao miaka mingi. Wenzetu na waomba wenye mmebarikiwa, hata nanyi mkumbuke wale. Mjaribu hata nyinyi kuwanyorosea mikono yenu na Mungu atawabariki.
Jamaa hao wameshabikia hatua hiyo na hata kukosa kuficha furaha yao.
Mimi mnayeniona nina mtoto wako university na ni kwa ajili ya huyu mama.
Amen.
Sasa namrudishia asante, nampa Mungu shukrani.
Nashukuru mama yetu kwa kuwa anakuwa mwema, anakuwa msaada kwetu. Hata bibi yangu ametamani sana kuona, kwa sababu yeye ndio anasoma message, mimi sina uwezo wa kuona.
Jinsi baraza amesema mke wake alitamani kumuona, mimi nyanya yangu na watu wa nyumbani wametamani kumuona sana, kwa sababu wanauliza ni nani huyu ambaye anasaidia, na roho ya utu wa kusaidia, kitu ambao viongozi wa serikali hawawezi fanya. Kwa hivyo mimi ningependa kusema hivyo, walemavu wenzangu, tusikue tu tumezoea labda kupokea tu na tunasema ni kawaida. Twende tuombee mama wetu.
Haya kijiri, baadhi ya wazazi wamelaumiwa kwa kuwatelekeza wanao wanaishi na ulemavu, huku wito ukitolewa kwa wazazi hao kuwapa malezi dhabiti watoto hao kwa kuwa wana haki sawa na watoto wenzao wasio na ulemavu katika jamii tunamoishi.
Mungu akikupa huyo mtoto huwa ako na sababu. Kwa hivyo penda huyo mtoto, utunze huyo mtoto, ni kwa sababu baadaye kuna faida ya huyo mtoto. Kwa hivyo asifichwe, atolewe huku nje, afanye tu kila shughuli zenye watoto wa wengine. Kama niko na watoto 5, pia huyo ni niko na mlemavu, nastahili nishughulikie huyo mlemavu zaidi, kwa sababu mahitaji yake ni mengi kuliko mtoto wa kawaida. So kwa wamama wenzangu, tafadhalini tuchunge watoto, tuangalia watoto, tuwapende na tuwatunze kulingana na vile inawezekana kabisa kuboresha maisha yao.
Kulingana na Bi Masharia, analenga kuanzisha wakfu utakaowasaidia jamaa hao kupata elimu na kuishi maisha sambamba na jamaa wengine katika jamii na hasa maisha ya kuridhisha. Boniface Barasa, TV47, mjini Kitale katika gatuzi la Trans Nzoia.
Na shukran sana mwanahabari wetu Boniface Barasa kwa taarifa hiyo kuntu kabisa. Tukizidi kusonga mbele, mpenzi mtazamaji, ni kuwa mwanamume mmoja aliweza kujitia kitanzi katika kijiji cha Lunyinya, eneo bunge la Malava, kufuatia ugomvi wa mkewe, ambapo inaaminika marehemu alituma nauli mara 3 ili mkewe arudi, japo akafeli kurudi. Mwanahabari wetu Mulindi Keri na kina cha taarifa hiyo.
Kulingana na familia mwenda zake Sola Nenje, mwenye umri wa makamo, anadaiwa kugombana na mkewe ambaye kufuatia ugomvi wa awali alikuwa ameondoka nyumbani, na marehemu amejaribu mkewe arudi, japo amekuwa akipokea matusi tu.
Bwana yake akamtuma pesa ya kurudi. Hiyo pesa kakula tu, hakurudi. Akakaa huko Muta. Akatai kama bwana yake ametoka, ameenda kazini, baada anafanya kazi. Akakuja usiku akachukua watoto wote na akasanya vitu yote akaenda nao kwao.
Alikuja kwa nyumba yangu na akamwambia, mama, nipa simu niongee na bibi yangu. Alafu mimi nampa simu, anaongea na bibi yake akimjibu madharau, akaanza kutusa yeye. Akamwambia, watoto mimi naingisha kwa shule, siwezi kuja huko. Ndio bwana yake akasikia hasira, akatupa simu kwa meza na akatoka naenda. Na mimi nafikiria kumbe anaenda kazi. Na kumbe anaenda kwa nyumba na kinyonga na kamba.
Kadhalika, familia ya marehemu inadai kwamba mkewe amekuwa akimhadaa kumtumia hela za nauli na karo, japo hakuwahi kurejea nyumbani wala kupeleka watoto shuleni, tukio ambalo huenda lilimghadhabisha marehemu.
Pesa ya kwanza alituma shilingi 8,000. Ya pili akatuma shilingi 2,000. Ya mwisho sana alituma jana karibu saa 7 shilingi 200 ati mtoto mmoja aruta aende kwa shule hapa Ingwe. Sasa kupika simu, haya mama wewe akamwambia, kama umetuma hii pesa sitarudi mpaka mwaka ile ingine. Akana roho ya uchungu sana. Mtoto mpaka sasa hajaenda shuleni. Hawa watoto wengine bado wako huko. Sasa ilikuwa chana mwendo wa saa 8 hivi. Bibi yake alimpikia simu, nataka pesa mtoto nimweka kwa gari arudi aende shuleni. Ndugu yangu alinipea pesa shilingi 200 nikamtumia. Wakati alitaka confirm pesa zimemfikia na mtoto anakuja, bibi yake alimjibu kimadharau, kafanya akabado na hasira.
Chifu wa kata ya Shianda wadi ya Kabaras Kusini George Maina hata hivyo amewatahadharisha wakwe dhidi ya kutowashauri wasichana wao vema wanapopata migogoro kwenye ndoa, akitaka jukumu hilo kufanywa kwa busara.
Na wao kila mara hulaumu jamii za mwanaume na hata mandugu za wasichana. Nimegundua kwamba wao ndio huchukua mstari wa mbele kwanza kuzuia wale mabinti kurejea katika maboma yao.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 nikiwa Malava kwenye kaunti ya Kakamega, mimi ni Mulindi Kere.
Na kwingineko, mpenzi mtazamaji, ni kuwa mbunge wa Embakasi Mashariki Paul Ongiri almaarufu Babu Owino atasalia rumande kwa siku 7 na kufikishwa mbele ya hakimu mkuu Francis Andai wa mahakama ya kusikiza kesi za uhalifu tarehe 27 Januari mwaka huu. Babu Owino alisomewa na kukanusha mashtaka mawili ambayo alishtakiwa nayo, yakiwemo jaribio la mauaji na kutokuwa na nidhamu akiwa amemiliki silaha. Mwanahabari wetu Salome Mwiruri na taarifa zaidi.
Babu Owino alifika mahakamani ya Milimani asubuhi na mapema na imani kuwa angeweza kuachiliwa. Hayo yakiwa kinyume na upande wa mashtaka uliokuwa ukitaka mahakama kutokubali Babu kuachiliwa kwa dhamana, huku akisema kuwa wadhifa wa Babu kama mbunge utaweza changia pakubwa katika kuhitilafiana na ushuhuda.
The position of the accused person in society is something that this court cannot ignore. Come again? The position that this accused person holds in society is a factor this court cannot ignore. And that his influence and the means to intimidate and interfere with witnesses.
Lakini jaji alitoa uamuzi wake na kushikilia kuwa Babu asalie rumande ya Industrial Area hadi tarehe 27, huku akisubiri ripoti ya maafisa wa upelelezi, haswa ripoti ambayo itakuwa na usemi wa mwathiriwa ili kuwezesha uamuzi iwapo ataweza kutoka kwa dhamana.
But in all those submissions, there has been no mention of the views of the victim of the alleged offense as required under the Victims Protection Act. The court is of the view that given the gravity of the charges and the victim's views have to be taken into account before the court arrives at a fair decision on whether or not to release the accused person on bond. In the circumstances, I'll call for a bail report to be prepared by the probation department. The report shall contain the victim's views and may also contain other views from the accused person if he so wishes.
Huku wakili wake akishikilia kuwa babu ni mtu ambaye ana familia changa na alihitaji kuwa nayo nyumbani. Zaidi, gari ambalo lilikuwa limezuiliwa lilikuwa gari ambalo babu alitumia kusafirisha watoto kutoka nyumbani kwenda shuleni. Hatimaye gari lake babu liliachiliwa.
In the present case, if the report is heard earlier, then either party is free to move the court for the same to be presented. After all, the decision whether or not to deny the accused person bond has not been made by the court. I have, however, not found good reason to have the accused person remanded at a police station rather than prison remand, and he'll therefore be remanded in prison remand.
Kwa sasa, Babu Owino atasalia rumande akiwa amejibu mashtaka mawili, la kwanza likiwa jaribio la mauaji na kutokuwa na nidhamu akiwa na bunduki. Salome Mwirore, TV47.
Naam, shukran sana mwanahabari wetu Salome Mwiruri kwa taarifa hiyo kuntu kabisa. Na bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, kufikia hapo sina la ziada ila kukushukuru wewe kwa kuweza kutazama taarifa za Shina la Upeo, na kuahidi ya kwamba mwendo wa saa 1 na vile vile saa 3 wenzangu watakuwa hapa ili kuweza kukujuza taarifa tendeti na vile vile sahihi. Lakini zaidi weza kuingia katika mitandao yetu ambapo utapata taarifa hizi na zingine nyingi zaidi kwenye Facebook TV47KE. Ingia kwenye Twitter @TV47KE. Vile vile weza kuingia kwenye tovuti yetu maridadi kabisa ambayo ni www.tv47.co.ke. Mtafsiri kwa lugha ya ishara amekuwa Josephine Ouko. Shukran kwa wote waliofanikisha shughuli hii wakiongozwa na Fiona Kenga. Kwa kwetu wananiita Joash Onsare. Kwaheri kwa sasa.